Well,
163rd
Grandma
Street.
died. They wanted to move, but she said steam heat was unhealthy, and she wouldn't move. So poor Grandma died in 1932, and they waited for me to graduate from St. Paul's. And Aunt Helen found our apartment in 215 East 163rd, and she got us the apartment, and we all moved. And Helen and May and Helen's family moved to 162nd.
What?
And it was, we thought we were in a palace. We had steam heat. We had a bathroom where you could walk.
How'd you like the neighborhood?
It was beautiful. It was like the country. There was big lots.
What about St.
And there was
Angela's?
cobblestones. I never went to St. Angela's School. I went
the
to
church
Cathedral
built
High
then?
School. The church was built.
Was there a
School
grammar
was
school
built.
there?
Yes, they all went except me, because I was graduating. And I went over to Brook Avenue, the Cathedral High School, Annex #1, and I lasted 2 years, and I hated it. So then my mother let me take a business course in Immaculate Conception, 151st, and that's where I graduated from.
What did? And then you went to work?
Then I went to work, $13 a week. The first 3 days was on me. I had to be trained to be a switchboard operator.
For the telephone
But
company?
no, I worked on this little switchboard for a credit furniture house. And the first 3
Where was
days in 125th between Lenox and 7th, Buckley New Hall. And it was a family business. And they sent me, the first day I started in school, a girl in the office, the girl that was supposed to teach me kept disappearing, and the things were lighting up, and I didn't know what to do, and I was crying. So the woman from the telephone company happened to come in, and she said, would I like to go to the school, telephone school? And they sent me. The boss said I could go. So for 3 days I went on my expense. I didn't get paid for that time. And when I got home, it was so regimented, I didn't know what she was talking about in the class. My mother taught me the switchboard with a drawing, and she made one with cord for the plugs, and that's how I learned how to run the switchboard. And they thought, then the telephone, I did good on the test, so naturally I had instruction home. So they asked me if I'd like to work for the telephone. She said, it isn't ethical to steal an employee. So I said, no, I better stay where I am. So then my poor father died in 1941, and they gave me the time off. And when I went back to work, they said my mother probably needed some more money, so they gave me $2 more. So they gave me $15. And I stayed there for years. And one of my cases was, I was looking, when I worked in Buckley New Hall, I was looking through the complaint file, and there was one there where a man sniffed up a 6-foot hair. And it said a 6-foot hair from a mattress. And I come home and told them. They were all, I was crazy. What would have a 6-foot hair? Evidently, someone made a mistake. Then after that, I got tired of working there and working there nights. I had to work nights, and I was scared going over to the subway. So then I got a job in the defense plant. They put me in the typing, and I didn't have. It was very nice there. I loved it. I made a lot of friends. But then they start taking the men.
What did they make in the plant?
I think I made 50 cents an hour, and they made airplanes, the English Buffalo and the Dutch plane. And then when they decided that the men should go to war and not be in the defense plants, they took all the men out. So they decided, well, they'll try women in the plants. So my girlfriends and I were sent from the office to work in the plant. And the first day I was there, they sent me for a skin stretcher. And they sent me with a requisition all over the place. And there's no such thing. That was the standard joke. And every time I'd walk through where they were assembling the planes, they used to throw rivets at me. Then I got they gave me a job assembling skins for the plane. I had it on a paper. I used to set up a whole airplane fuselage by myself. Take the pieces off the rack. They're very light. And then they'd follow that plane right through the construction. So I worked there for a while, and then I got into the tool crib with a big crank that nobody wanted to work with, so I got him. And I worked there for about 6 months. And then one day they used to have dancing and movies at lunchtime. So they were going to show some war movie. So they got everybody assembled in the hall, a couple of hundred people, I guess. And I used to wear a smock because most people didn't wear pants. And they were all seated, and I had a course in front of where the stage was. And I got halfway across, and my pants fell down. And I didn't know what to do, so I picked them up quick and put them in my pocket. And nobody said anything. And I come home screaming, hysterical. I said, I'll never go back. And my mother said, you have to go back. She said, the War Manpower Board will get after you. So I went the next day, and nobody said a word. And years later, when I was leaving, when our contract was finished, the boss said to me, I never thought you'd stick it out. And I said, well, why? He said, well, the day your pants fell off. He said, we were all hysterical, but nobody would laugh because I told him, if you laugh, she'll never come back. And that was right.
Okay. I think maybe now we'll interview Aunt Helen for.
You'll have to tell me what to remember.
We'll start.
Then I went to my job. After the war our contract was over, we were let go, and I was given a severance pay of about $100. So then I got a woman down the block got me a job in the American Banknote over on Gates Avenue in the East Bronx. She said, it's lovely, it's 8 to 4. But what she didn't tell me was you never went home at 4. It was more like 7 and 8. And they used to print stamps and money, and they used to bring the people from the different embassies, and they'd cremate the money and the old stamps. And we used to see all the big limousines come. Then I got sick of that work, and I used to come home crying. So my mother says, you can't stay there. Then I went to, and Nellie Schornstein got me in 1944 to the Commercial Union. And that's where they said they gave me a typing test, and I typed one line. She said, that's enough. I see you can type. Report Monday, you're an Ediphone operator. So when I went home, I was asking everyone I meet, what is an Ediphone? Nobody knew. And I said, I'm an Ediphone operator. I don't know what it is. So she said, I went in Monday, and I found out it was a dictaphone machine. And that's what I did for 28 and a half years till I retired. April 53. April the 1st, 1953. 73, so I'm still hanging around.
All right, thanks, Margie.
Remember, Anderson.
Oh, look at that.